Facing challenges and overcoming setbacks is part of doing business. Whether you have the expertise to survive them or not could mean the difference between success or failure. Welcome to We Are Women, featuring revealing conversations that provide invaluable insights into the success secrets of female masterminds. A must listen for every entrepreneurial woman. Now here's your host, Janeen Vosper.
Hi, it's Janeen Vosper here, and welcome to this episode of the We Are Women podcast. Today, I have with me Anne McKeown. Now, Anne is a highly regarded mindset coach and founder of 2mpower.co. She specialises in empowering women to reignite the spark in their life and work by shifting the psychological barriers that hold them back. She has developed a step-by-step process for success that she shares with individuals and teams. Now, her main driver is to be a good role model for her daughters, Maris and Megan. Beautiful Scottish name, Maris.
Yes. Yeah, it's Latin actually, but yeah, it was an auntie's name.
Oh, that's lovely. The two M's in the 2M Power. A friend of mine's got ARC Financial Planning, and it's her name and her daughter's names as well with the ARC. Yeah, it's a lovely way because it really brings it into the family then. So Anne is also a published author and founder of Sydney's Women's Empowerment Meetup that has over 600 members. And I'm going to welcome Anne onto the show. We had a lovely long chat the other day, Anne and I, and when we were chatting, I'm thinking, I should be recording all of this because it was just so much fun, and we had so much synchronicity and so many things that really connected the two of us together. Welcome, Anne.
Yeah, thanks, Janine. I felt that too, and I feel very privileged to be on your podcast, and I love the work that you're doing as well. So thanks for the invite.
Oh, thank you. And there was just so many things that we had similar beliefs about, and that we're helping people in similar ways, but with different processes, which was really interesting and very cool. Now, the 2mpower, how did that come about, and what brought you to that space in your life where you went, this is what I'm going to do, Anne?
Yeah, well, I had been in coaching all of my life, but I used to work in corporate as a coach, and through that I learned that mindset is what sets people apart from those that are just kind of ordinary to those that are really successful if they've got the right mindset and a process to follow. And I had worked in a high school when my kids were young, helping teenagers who were very smart but not doing well because they didn't have the guidance of a coach or parents or anybody to believe in them and show them a way. And then I came to Australia, and I was very busy here, settling the kids, buying a house, a dog, all the things you do. My husband was traveling, and I didn't work for about 6 years, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed that. I was volunteering and just really enjoying living in Sydney. And then I hit 50. I don't know if it was just...
It's a magic age, isn't it?
Yeah, that number or what. I was going through menopause. I thought I was going a bit crazy. I became quite unhappy. I started to question my life. What was it all about? The kids didn't need me anymore. So what was my role to play? I didn't want to go back into corporate. I felt I had no skills to give. Like, technology had moved on so fast, and just full of, now I'll call it fear and doubt. But at that time, I didn't really know that's what it was. It was just all this emotion that was keeping me stuck. So a friend advised that I go and see a coach. And to be honest, in my mind, I was thinking, I know I have to do this myself. No one else can do this for me and whatever. And this woman was fantastic. And she said to me, just get everything together that you've done in the past. What do you really enjoy? What gives you pleasure? And actually at that point, I was even like, I don't know. I kind of lost touch with myself.
Okay.
And I said, I just want to be able to help other women that are in a similar situation. And so she said, well, reach out. And then, of course, that's always something that we're a bit afraid of, isn't it? To kind of reach out and say, I'm struggling. And so I did. And another lady told me about meetup groups. So I started this meetup about empowering women, and I had 60 ladies sign up in the first week. And at that point, I thought, okay, there's something here. And that sort of gave me the courage to keep going.
Yeah.
It was never a business in the beginning. It was just about, I went and retrained as a coach and started to get together all my material. Like, I'd studied NLP in the 90s. I'd followed positive psychology all through the 2000s. And even as a mum, you yourself know that you're constantly coaching your kids and people around you and keeping the peace and trying to keep your own energy levels up. And, you know, so that in itself is the role of a coach. And so it's just evolved over time.
Yeah, that's something, isn't it? You know, that we hit, and this happens to so many women. And I had a great conversation with somebody that you know that is a menopause coach, Angela Council, in the last podcast interview. And this was part of what she sees. It's not necessarily the symptoms, the physical symptoms of menopause. It's that when many women hit it, particularly around the 50 mark, and then begin to question their purpose and what is their purpose in life and what they can do next. But what you did was recognize the skills that you had, and going to a coach is so clever. Not enough people do that. They think that they can find their way without getting any outside assistance. And I always equate that, and a little bit with depression too. You get into a state and a space doing what you're doing, and if you're not going to change anything, you can't get that clarity, or you can't get out of that space unless you get somebody to help you. So getting a coach was really clever doing that, and I love that she helped you see that all of the qualities that you had, and then what you could do with that. Yeah.
And family and people around you they want to help you, but they really don't have any idea either. And I even found initially that my husband and kids were quite happy with things the way they were, because I did all the cooking and the cleaning and the driving and all that. And there was a wee bit of resistance. I mean, they weren't aware of it at the time. It was a kind of unconscious thing, but they didn't really want things to change because the way it was lovely for them. And of course, when I was then like, well, I don't want to do this anymore. I want it to be about me for a change. And then I'd feel guilty and selfish. So then it was like, no, it's self-interest. It's not being selfish. And you know, and so taking it out of the family and friends environment to someone that just didn't know me and could look at the facts and take the emotion out of it, but who started to believe in me and show me that those skills as an older woman can be very valuable for the next generation of girls coming up who don't maybe have a grandmother nearby, or, you know, a mentor in their work, and that gave me the courage, because I know with a lot of women, it's like, if it's all for us, then we don't quite have the motivation to do it. But as soon as I thought, oh, I'm going to help other women in the next generation, then that gave me the confidence, I suppose, to push forward.
Yeah, that's a really good shift in mindset then for yourself, isn't it? Because, and yeah, I think I've nearly talked about this in the 100 and something episodes that I've done, is it's somewhere it comes up about women not putting themselves first, that they put everyone else first, and it's not putting yourself first. I loved your terminology. What did you say? It's
not selfish, it's self-interest.
It's self-interest, yes. And it's something that I've had it's been my belief all the time. It's harder to say no. I remember my youngest son, when he was about 7, he said, "Mum," I said, "You can't do something because I love you." And he said, "Mum, I wish you didn't love me so much." And it was because he wanted to play on the road or something, you know, at that particular time, and the other kids were allowed to. And it's what we do, that when we can put ourselves first, that we can show that we love ourselves enough that we can say no to others, and then we give them the opportunity to be who they can be. When we're doing for others, they don't have that chance. It's a codependency, isn't it?
It is, yes. And actually, you said it at the beginning, that my thing was about being a good role model for my daughters, because what had happened was I was the stay-at-home mum who had this lovely life, and I'd go to the beach and walk the dog, and that's not the background I came from. I was used to working and doing and achieving, and I had gone into a bit of a slump. I don't know if depression's the right word, but I certainly felt stuck and lethargic. And when I got going on this path, they saw that change and they were like, oh, mum's full of energy now. So she might not be putting that energy into doing all the washing and housework, but she's much more fun to be around, because then I became happier, and the ripple effect of how I was feeling had an impact on them. And it's funny, we had this thing, because when I started to do my business, they were starting university. So we had this little agreement that we'd come in of a day and we would do this with the thumb. And if we'd had a good day, we'd do a thumbs up. And if it'd been a not so good day, we'd do a thumbs down. And some days I would go, oh, and they'd be like, oh, Mum, what happened? What's wrong? And I say, well, my client didn't show up, or I didn't get a customer, or I failed an exam, or, you know, something, I can't understand social media marketing, and it helped them to see that no matter what age you are, life is still a challenge. You still struggle to learn, and each day to get yourself back on that wagon, and you know, and it's been, and now they'll say, oh, Mum, we're so proud of you, and look what you've achieved, and the roles have reversed.
Isn't that awesome? That's
it's
terrific.
lovely. It's really nice.
Yeah. And you know, the 50 isn't 50 as it was 20 years ago.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's very, very different space. You know, I'm 10 years older than 50, 11 years older than 50. I can say it aloud. I'm 61. And I'm thinking the other day, I was in the shower. I need to do a lot of thinking in the shower. And I'm thinking, okay, so how long am I going to continue working and doing what I'm doing? And I thought, I don't know a stop date. I can't imagine a stop date. My lifestyles, you know, is what I want to do, where I do it anyway, and go away and do things. So that's not, and it was, okay, that's fine. Yeah.
But we talked about this when we had our conversation previously, and it's because I remember my mum at, you know, mid-50s and going through menopause and stuff, and, you know, she started to wear like old-fashioned clothes and things. Pearls and twin sets, and she got her hair cut short and curled and started to look older. And for us, like my thing this year, having spent all of last year on Zoom calls and sitting at the computer, is to do more physically. And I'm actually probably doing more sport and outdoor activity now than I ever have in my life. Because I know that it's important as we age to do that. But I also, like you, can see myself coaching for the next 20 or 30 years. But it's not because, like in corporate, that was our only identity. Because I think as a woman, you lose your identity as soon as you have a baby. And you lose control of your future as soon as you, to a degree, when you become a mother. And so we've already lost that ego and that attachment and that. So for us, it's like, okay, what can I make of all this when I've already stepped out of the corporate zone and I'm not the number one all the time, and I'm not, how can I really just enjoy being me and enjoy life? And so then it's, yes, we're going to do this forever, but it's because we have fun and we enjoy doing it, not because of fear. And kept relevant.
And that's that. I know I'm stumbling over the words here, but that's exactly right. It's not done through necessity, or not done through compulsion or responsibility, or the responsibility to get the message out. I definitely feel that, but it's done because this is just, it's fun to do it. And that we're both in the same space. We've got so much information to share and so much experience to share, and it really helps other people not to have to make the mistakes that we've made. You know, I think Eleanor Roosevelt's got a quote that says, you know, just basically listen to other people because they've already made the mistakes that you are about to make. And the quote goes nothing like that, but the thing that was what it means. And it's that, isn't it? It's that we've got so much to give.
And enjoying it at the same time. You know, I mean, even like you said there about the responsibility to get the message out, you're choosing to do that. And that's empowering, and that's the difference in me. I think I felt I didn't have a choice. And I see that with a lot of women. It's like, well, I have to cook and clean. I have to look after the kids. I have to, and there's an element of that, yes, but you don't have to do that 24/7. And so it's finding that, we talk about balance, but finding the other avenues where you can bring in the fun and the enjoyment and the creativity and the self-driven ideas.
From that, I just love that word, identity, and rather than finding balance, because if we're searching for balance, I do a talk on that. It's a myth that we've to have that balance. Every part of our life looks a bit different. There's different priorities, and we can put time into different things, as long as we are creating time for certain activities that bring us joy, is probably where that comes from. But finding identity, so when you know who you are and why. I mean, this has sort of been the catchphrase of the last decade, is find your why and live that. But when you know your why, then you can find who you are, and then that then creates the balance, because you find the things and you focus on the things, you put energy into the things that you want to do, because they make you better and bigger and calmer, or everything.
And you find your community as well. So when I realized there were as many women feeling like me, I then didn't feel quite so odd. I didn't feel so alone anymore. I felt able to kind of share and support, and so that feeling of belonging, when I felt I was losing a lot, like I was losing my kids, I was losing my responsibility, I was losing my role, this new door opened, and then flooded all these new connections, and I think nothing is forever in life. And what I've noticed with my own life is that things change with each decade. Sort of your 20s, you're learning, your 30s, you might get married and have kids, your 40s, it's all about career and paying the mortgage and getting the kids a good education, and then your 50s, you start to find some freedom, and you're still healthy enough to do lots of things, and maybe in your 60s, then you've got the freedom and the money to travel, and 70s something else, and and so nothing, and that was a great thing for me as well. It was very freeing, that it's like, what I'm doing now, or what I was doing then, didn't mean that was the way it needed to be forever.
Yes. And knowing that, because a lot of people don't know that they can just change things. I've recreated myself about every 10 years, all the way through, and I've done it purposely, and then planned the education that I wanted to achieve, or the information that I needed, so that I could move into that next phase. And it's just been a blessing, and because your time is different, and your focus is different, and your responsibilities are different. And it's, I know when I had young children, and I remember sitting on a train with a friend. We were traveling into the cities, we were having a day out, and we're talking about what's next, what career could we have next, and I just started going to aerobics, and I thought, what, that's what I want to do, is teach aerobics. And so I went and did all the training, and then did that for 10 years, and it was something I love doing, and it was very convenient. They excuse me, the boys used to say, are we going to the men's aerobics today, or are we going to the aerobics at the house, or something? It was all, they knew where we were going, and it was a great opportunity for them. It fitted around school, so you do everything. And then studied management to move into a senior management role. So you do the things, and so that constant recreating meant that I didn't get to a spot where I've gone, who am I? Because it was, what's next? That was my thinking, is what's next, and what's next. It's
And I actually think we, as women, we have, and maybe this applies for guys too, but it's certainly for me and the women around me, that being able to have that choice. A lot of women worry about, if I leave corporate because I want to have a baby, I'll break my career, or I won't hit my ceiling, or the guys will take the job, or but the way the world is now, I mean, look at you and I, we've both created successful, profitable businesses from home in our later life.
Yes.
So we don't need to be part of all that now. And I know young women who are making a fortune with an online, program or whatever, where the events that they ran, and so the world has changed there too, that it doesn't, you don't have to sit in an office from 9 to 5 doing things for someone else to be successful.
No, and I think the technology certainly helped with that in moving on to this decade where we've got that opportunity. But also COVID has certainly created a different environment for people, and what may have taken 5 years to be able to, for someone to adapt to, let's work from home, and the company feeling comfortable about it, they had to do it in a day. Yes. And it changed it completely.
Yes. And a big part of that is having an open enough mindset to say, okay, I'm willing to learn, because I know that the technology really overwhelmed me for a long time, and I was pulling my hair out with frustration, and I'd watch videos and it worked on the video, and then I would try it and it didn't work. And it's that sort of, you'll only fail if you quit, sort of, just each time now I try it and I think, oh yeah, I get it now. Suddenly the penny drops and you get it. And I hear so many people say, oh, I'm too old to learn technology, or that's not my generation, or that's not, you're not too old to learn anything. If you have that, if you choose to open your mind to allow new information to come in and see it, don't put pressure on yourself to have a certain result by a certain date, but just enjoy the process.
Yes. Yeah, that's one of my things I've said along. My brain is full. At certain stages when you're learning technology, brain is full. But I have just surprised myself on now how easy I can do things, and it's just, and most of mine are creative things, and they're not. It's creative within technology, not the full back of the house type of things, and whatever the terminology is. But it's achieving something is really cool to be able to do that.
Podcast. I mean, I know what goes into running a podcast, and the behind the scenes, and the editing, and the uploading, and the files, and the marketing, and and it's really inspiring that you're doing this.
Yeah, thank you. I think I've said it many times before. Because I speak to such interesting people, I'll just continue doing it. And I do appreciate everyone who's listening. Of course I do, but I just get so much out of it myself that I enjoy doing it so much. And now I've shifted over to Zoom about 8 months ago, and so that we can do the videos at the same time, and it does make a lot of difference. With your mindset, how do you, because I know you work with people doing exactly what you did, and how do you help them through those steps to go from I'm lost, I have lost my identity, to what's your purpose and what you can do?
Yeah. So I use a lot of NLP techniques in my coaching, because I studied NLP in the 90s, and I used a lot of it for myself. And for people that are not sure what that is, it stands for neuro-linguistic programming. The neuro is our thinking. Everything starts with a thought, and neuroscience is teaching us that more and more. We then create language or a story of self-talk around that, and that then creates a feeling. The feeling creates a behavior or reaction, and then the behavior and the reaction creates the outcome. So if we start with a negative talk, and basically what I would do with someone is say, right, well, what's the thought that you're having just now? Oh, I'm not good enough, this isn't going to work. Okay, what are you saying? So you're saying to yourself and others, I'm not even going to try. That makes you then feel rotten about yourself, your body slumps, and the action is nothing. So it then becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because that's right, you weren't good enough and it didn't happen. And then you can go, see, I was right. But if we can turn that round, and this is what I would help someone do, is say, well, what have you done in the past where you were successful and you did feel happy with what you were doing, and you did have good thoughts about it, and you did make it cut, and they would come up with something. So, and then I'd say, okay, so we look at then the thought, the language, not just what you're saying to yourself, but what you're saying to other people. That's why if you've got an idea, they say, share it, tell people, get it out there, because you're reaffirming to yourself that you are capable of doing it. You then get excitement. The excitement creates motivation. The motivation creates action, and the action creates a positive result. And so when we can go back to having that awareness of everything starts with a thought, and we're looking at the neuro side of things, that creates one big shift.
Yes. Yeah. I also work within NLP, and it's just such a powerful component just in that beliefs, how you believe something to be true.
Yes.
You know, my husband will drive into a shopping centre and go, I'm never going to find a car park. And I drive into a shopping centre expecting a car park there. And if it's not, I'm thinking, who got that wrong? You know,
Yes.
it's always there.
One more time, and there will be one there.
That's exactly right. That's what happens.
Yeah.
It's and that's only just a little demonstration, but
Yeah,
that whole expectation, you know, the holidays, the travel I've done, and we'll turn up in places and there'll be someone say, you know what, this has never happened here before, or this only ever happens once a year. Well, of course, I'm here today, so you know that's the expectation that it's going to be amazing. It's and that's where that belief system really can affect the outcome.
Mm-hmm. And you know, if someone tells you that they're doing something, like if I've got a friend that says, oh, I'm going to join a gym and I'm going to lose weight and I'm doing this, or I'm going to set up a new business, or I'm looking for a new partner, and you think, oh great, you're excited for them, how can I help you, or you know, keep me posted on your journey, or you know, but we then shy out, well, I'm not going to tell anyone in case I fail, or in case it doesn't work out, or in case, you know. So it's the second part is learning to communicate with confidence. So the belief within, then other people pick that up. Because if you don't believe in yourself, how can you expect other people to believe in you? If you don't invest in yourself, why would anyone else invest in your business?
And that's the linguistic part of the NLP, is that communication, isn't it? With the inner self as well as externally to the world.
Absolutely. And that's huge, because they say that what we say to ourselves is a lot worse than anything we would ever say to a girlfriend. You know, you'd never say to go, oh, you look ugly in that dress, or you're no good, or you're hopeless at that, or you'll never find a partner, or you'll never make a business. So you know, and the one thing that you know, we doubt everything but doubt itself. What if the doubt wasn't true? What, you know?
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing. I've never heard that before. That the only thing we don't doubt is doubt itself. Yes. So, and that's that. Who then is driving the bus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is driving the mind?
Yeah. And where did that belief come from that you're holding on to, that says I'm not good enough, or you'll always be overweight, or you'll never be successful? You know, that looking to find where that has come from, because it will have come from somewhere that's created that belief system that we've hung on to.
That's right. And often before the age of 5. And it's so subconsciously deep in our minds that we, you know, can I share a wee story with you about that?
Yeah, certainly.
So that makes sense if we've got time. There was a woman that I was working with, and she had a twin sister, and they were both, you know, same family, same background, same school, same everything. But the sister was very successful, got on well with people, obedient, did really well in life. And this woman that came to me was really struggling. She said, everywhere I go, it doesn't work out the way I want it to, and I'm just sick of being the black sheep of the family. And so I said to her, when did you make the decision you were going to be the black sheep of the family? And she said, well, I didn't. It's everybody else thinks of me. And I said, yes, you did. And she said, no, I didn't. And I said, if you could think of when it was, when would it be? And she said, oh my God, it's just come to me. And it's that question, if you did know, if you could remember, what would it be? And then the subconscious comes to the fore. And she said that when they were in kindy at school and they were all told to do an exercise, she was sitting with a crayon drawing on the wall. And the teacher came and grabbed her by the arm and shouted, you stupid girl, you do not thing in the wall, go to the naughty seat or whatever, put her in the corner, took the crayons off her. And in that moment, she looked over at her sister who was sitting at the desk, colouring in all nicely and whatever. And she said, in that moment, I think I decided I hate authority. And so everywhere she's gone, She's clashed with the boss. She's clashed with partners. She's clashed with anyone that's trying to tell her what to do or how to do it, or even if people were trying to help her. And she said, I just see it now. She said, I see the pattern now. And I mean, she must have been 5. 6.
Wow. Yeah. That's so powerful, isn't it? That again, that's why it's so important to nourish our children, and that
Yes.
they make them the priority in our lives, and
Yes.
how we have that language with them and how we have those moments with them. It's extremely important to be able to do that, and to be able to do that well with the children. We've got to be able to do it for ourselves.
That's right. We're role models. Yeah.
No, that's such an important factor. And I remember there's an old parable, there's this very, very old man sitting on the side of the road, and this traveler comes past, and he sort of looks annoying at the old man and said, tell me about the town ahead. And the old man says, well, how did you find the town you've just come from? He said, nobody was friendly. It just was horrible. There was nothing to do. I didn't like it. And the old man said, you'll probably find the next town very much the same. And the next traveler comes along and does the same to the old man and says, he says, how'd you find the last town? He said, everyone was amazingly friendly. It was just wonderful. I had so much to do, and everyone invited me into their homes. And he said, you'll probably find the next town very much the same.
Yeah.
And it's like those twins, exactly. That story is that story that they told themselves, and that expectation that this is what it's going to be.
Yeah. And we take that story with us. And so that's one of the things in a way that we can help women, is to say, you don't need to live by that old script anymore. We can write a new story.
Yeah. And the programming part with the NLP, so
the programming is our behavior, and it's so we can either sit in a slump on the couch and do nothing, or we can say, you know what, even though my thinking's negative and my emotions are not helping, what I say to clients is just become a robot. Robots do not have any feelings or emotions. They just do what they're programmed to do. So if we create a program in your mind, and imagine we were putting like a floppy disk into your head, and it was like, okay, I've said I want to do this exercise every day, but I'm not enjoying it. As soon as your eyes open in the morning and you get that there's a split second between, do I get up and do it, or do I go back under the covers? In that split second, you do not allow yourself a thought. You take action. You override the thoughts with the action. So you slip your feet out of the bed, you stand up, you've prepared the night before to get your jogging stuff out, you drink of water, you're up the top of the hill within 3 minutes, and you're like, I'm so pleased I did this. Now I get to watch the sunrise and get some exercise. And by the time you get back home, you feel fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great way. And then it becomes a habit once you do it enough, and you just do it anyway. But to become a robot and just do the things that you may not like to do, but are beneficial, and eventually change the way you're thinking about things. I know
we get ourselves off the hook, and when we think, I don't need to, it doesn't matter. And in the moment it's like, yeah, I won't bother, and you feel okay with that. But then later in the day, you don't feel okay with that.
Yes, that's correct. I know I walk most mornings, not every morning, and the intention is to do yoga and stretching other mornings, and then go for a push bike ride if I do in the afternoons. But the mornings, the days where I don't do the yoga because I've just jumped on the computer, which I have done this morning, and now it's the afternoon and I still haven't done the yoga, and it will get forgotten. Because
and this is where the self-interest comes in, because if you put yourself first and you do that early, then you can relax the rest of the day, because you know you've done it, you've looked after your body. And it is about when our body, mind and spirit are in congruence, when we feel that they're all on the same page, then you just fly. I mean, that's when you're ready to soar in life.
Yes, no, I totally agree. And it's just, and it is. So it's the mindset with and the neuro-linguistics programming, NLP, is something people throw out there without a lot of explanation. So that's given the listeners a lot of explanation into not just knowing what NLP is, but knowing what can do for them and understanding it, and then changing the thinking, changing the language, and changing the behaviors.
Yeah. And having someone to walk you through that and walk alongside you as you're doing it, because it is tough to make change and to keep going. And we all start off enthusiastic about a new project and then hit a lull, and then and that's called the failure cycle, where we get to a high and then we reach a plateau, and we either garner the whatever it is that we need, the energy, the mindset, the technology, the money, whatever, to go to the next level, or we say, this isn't for me, actually that other thing over there is for me, and we start again, and we hit a plateau in that, and then we say, man, that's for me, and then we find something else and we hit a plateau in that, and that's known as the failure cycle. Whereas if you expect, I'm going to have fun in the beginning, I'm going to dip in the middle, but if I don't quit and I get help, that'll I'll move to the next level.
And that's where we started with the interview too, was saying, how you getting help made all the difference to what you've been able to create in the last 5 years. And it does. It makes an incredible difference when you can get somebody who, and finding the right people to do to be able to give you the right information is incredibly important.
Yeah.
Also.
And so many women I know will offer help. Somebody's in need, they put their hand up, I'll help, but they don't ask for help. And asking for help is actually a real strength, because it takes courage. And oh no, I can do it all myself. But you know what? And you probably can, but it will be slower, it will be longer, it will be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, And it's when you realize that you need the help and you deserve the help and that it's okay, then your world will change.
I know I've had business coaches for all through different types. I mean, plus gym coaches, plus yoga coaches, plus, all of these spaces, and nutrition coaches, which I have at the moment through naturopath. It's the first time I haven't had a business coach for a period of time, but I've got different focuses at the moment, and I'm utilizing different skill sets, which probably are business coaches with a different skill set. But there's always somebody there that can offer you that feedback. And the other thing is as well, you mentioned it with your meetup group, and I run meetup groups here in Brisbane, but my mastermind groups, that getting a mastermind group is so important, because you just gives you that extra, am I doing this right? Do I need support today, ladies? I need a bit of backup. And asking for help.
Great at doing that. Someone else is in need. Yep, I feel it, and we are very open and communicate openly and honestly and stuff. And so when you're in a support group like that, it really is worth gold.
Yeah, and it's so important. So ladies, it is so important to know when to ask for help, isn't it? And then to be able to accept it, not just ask for it, accept it. It's yes, and I know we're so good at giving advice out. It's learning to be able to take it and receive it, not just take it. Take it's not the right words. Receive it is so important. Yeah. So if anyone wants to work with you, Anne, how do they go about that?
Oh, thanks, Janine. So my website is just my name, AnneMcKeown.com. So it's ANNEMCKEOWN.com. And I offer a free clarity call initially to see if I can help you. And if I can, I'll point you in the direction of someone else that can. So if you go on to my website, there's a booking spot. We have a 30-minute chat and see where you're at and what's missing for you, what you need.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And I missed the 3 takeaway points, but I said the first one myself anyway. Stop trying to do it all by yourself, and allow people ask for help and receive it. So the other couple of takeaway points.
Well, one of them was the whole if you don't believe in yourself, why would anyone else? And so it is about stepping up to that, and the third is really about, even if you just go and Google, NLP or awareness, or find out, are your thoughts, your words, and your actions in alignment? And if not, why not?
Yeah, that's so important. And that last bit, if not, why not?
Yeah.
Yes, and what's holding you back, what beliefs are holding you back. That and to get in touch with Anne, then it's annemckeown.com. So it's ANNEMCKEOWN.com. Yeah, that makes it nice and easy. Thank you so much, Anne. As those people that have listened to me for a while can understand why Anne and I connected so well, because there's so much common beliefs and ideas, and it's just lovely. We are very, very much so. I don't have your lovely accent, but I think that's the only difference, really.
No, I love what you do. I also would just say, if anyone wants a free copy of my book, they can download that from the website when they go on there.
Okay.
There are questions and things in there too that they might find helpful as a starting point.
What was the name of your book?
Take Back Control of Your Life Now.
Oh, lovely. Perfect. That's lovely. So thank you very much, Anne. Very, very much appreciated. And that's another episode of the We Are Women podcast. I am Janeen Vosper, your host. And remember, if you're a little bit unsure about what you want to be doing, if you want a little bit of help with sales or speaking, then go onto my website, janeenvosper.com. A book very much like Anne's book, a free strategy call. I'd love to have a chat with you. And again, very much like Anne, if I can't help you, I've got so many contacts with people that I can direct you, that will be your best possible assistance to achieve the results that you want. If you've loved what you've heard today, please leave a 5-star review on the podcast. And I look forward to you joining me next time on the We Are Women podcast. Bye for now.
Bye.
So, do you feel stuck in a rut in business? Visit speechperfect.com.au and download Janeen's free ebook to avoid the 5 most common stumbling blocks women face in business. It's jam-packed full of tips to overcome the barriers that could be holding you back from the success that you dream your business will be. We would love you to leave a review of today's episode and share this podcast with other women in need of entrepreneurial inspiration. Subscribe to the next episode now and join the We Are Women community.